Usually I ask people how they've been before I talk about me. So how you've been? How you've been? How have you been? It's early. Hi, hello. Welcome to my awkward intro. I'm Amy and this is the Half Caff podcast where we'll talk about knitting and crochet and hopefully with a warm or cool beverage depending on how hot it is where you are. I drink warm even in the middle of summer because I suffer for my vices. Today's mug doesn't look like much on the outside. And you probably won't be able to see much on the inside. I've drunk enough so that I won't spill it, I hope. But it's got this cool design on the inside. I'll actually insert some video here for a second so you can see what it looks like. I'm out here once again pretty early in my backyard. That's my shed behind me. I call it the barn. It makes for great photo backgrounds, actually. So a lot of times I take some photos against that. Not that I know really what I'm doing, but I can see that much. It is the benefit of recording early in the morning on a Saturday is that many people aren't up in my neighborhood, or they're not at least making noise. The guy next to me has been constructing his house for over a year, so and it's cool. It's nice and cool. It actually rained yesterday and I almost cried. I'm not a heat lover. I keep my house like 68 even in the winter. So I have missed, probably like many of you, not all of you, but I've missed all my cozy things. I want to wear socks and sweaters and blankets. And I've already been starting to watch like some of my, they're not just fall, but the things that start like, bringing fall moods on. I've already started to watch some of those like Sleepy Hollow and what else? Paranorman and Beetlejuice. That was so much babble. So let's talk about knitting and stuff. I do have crochet. Okay, I was like, do I have any crochet? I do. Okay, so we're going to start with this because case in point. I am in a fall mood. And so look what I did. I couldn't help it. I just got in a pumpkin mood and they're so fast and easy to make. So let me pull out one. This yarn, I used a bunch of yarn, some of which I already had. Isn't that adorable? So I saw this idea online and decided to try that myself. This is really easy to do. This probably used like a size 7 or 8 millimeter hook. I can't remember. I kind of changed around. And this is like bulky, super bulky. This is probably like a category 6 kind of yarn. This one is Rasta from Malabrigo. And it looks sort of like, I think it's probably, it appears to be unspun. It kind of looks like you just like knitted roving. Anyway, I like the look of it, but mostly it was chunky and it had a great color, a great fall color. So if you want to make one of these, they're totally easy. Of course, there's patterns all over, but it's really easy to make. So you can either, you'll basically chain however many you want. I'd say like somewhere between 14 and 20, depending on how big you want your pumpkin to be. And then you work and turn back and forth and you either slip stitch every stitch and then turn back and forth and keep doing that. Or you just like crochet into the back loop. This is slip stitch, which means you'll get more like even regular lines. If you crochet into the back loop, there'll be wider spaces between these ridges. But it'll still have that kind of like ridged look. And then you could crochet a stem, but that seemed annoying. And I'd seen this idea somewhere floating online in like some, you know, I don't know, some homemaking picture or something. Anyway, where you jam a cinnamon stick in the open end and then tie it with twine. So I did that and I love it. And it's easy. These cinnamon sticks aren't very smelly. They're probably old. I have a whole bunch of them now, so now I have to make all the pumpkins, as if I haven't already. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to try and sell them, I guess, but at a fair. Fingers crossed that I get into my last fair for this year. Anyway, the other thing is to get this, you know, to look pumpkin-y, because it's basically just going to be a flat, right? A flat piece of crochet. So you will leave a long tail when you start your crochet, and then leave a long tail when you finish. And you can use those tails to sew up the side so that you make a tube that's open on both ends. And then you'll basically just kind of like do a running stitch with one of those tails around one of the ends, and then cinch it up. And that'll close it up. Then you stuff it, and then do the same, turn it over and do the same to the other side. The thing you want to remember is the last side you do should stay a little bit open. In fact, I can just take this out like that. So it should stay a little bit open so that you can jam your cinnamon stick in. I have 3 that I didn't leave it open enough, and so I have to do a real, like crochet a real stem, a real stem. I crochet a stem. So I haven't gotten to it yet, so there's 3 more besides this that don't have a large enough opening for me to jam a cinnamon stick in. Then you will, in order to get this kind of like depressed in the middle, you will pull your yarn really tight through. You can probably just do it once, except that because if you're doing it this way where you're leaving an opening, it's going to make it kind of crooked. So you kind of have to pull it up and down like 3 or 4 times around the circle. Come up and down each time in a different place so that it kind of looks more even when you like pull it down and squeeze it down to kind of compress these, of course, after it's stuffed. But anyway, if that's too, I know I'm just like casually saying, and then you do this and then you do this and it's easy. There's plenty of patterns for crochet pattern or for pumpkins, and knit patterns too. So they're really cool. But anyway, I made whole lot. Here they are again. Don't want to jam my microphone. I think my favorite is, I love them all. I think my favorites are the greens and the yellows. And I kind of like this one too. This is all that I have of this yarn. I was just using up leftover chunky, but then I didn't have the right colors, fall colors. So I went to my LYS and got that Rasta, and that's what the orange and the yellow are, is Rasta, but it's all kinds of different yarns. I think one of them is a Lion Brand Home Hearth? No? What's the word? Anyway, it's a Lion Brand. It's got a little bit of heathering. Yeah, they're all different kinds of whatever. And I ended up going and buying even more yarn because I have so many cinnamon sticks now. And I don't drink like cinnamon tea or what. I'm not going to use them for cooking. I don't, or for boiling. So I'm just like, I'll use them for pumpkins. But I kind of bought a big thing. So I'm not going to make like 84 pumpkins, but I'll save them, for next year too. That's cool. They'll go in my craft cabinets, like everything else. So that's the first finished object. Let's get organized here. What else do I want to talk about? I've kind of had a hard time. I think I'm getting my momentum back, but I was having a really hard time, like nothing. I wanted to knit. Like, it's not like I didn't have knit mojo as far as like the impetus to knit, the motivation to knit, but I didn't have anything that I wanted to knit on. That's kind of why I did so many pumpkins, because they're so easy. And it was just like, well, I don't know, I'll do another pumpkin, whatever. So yeah, that's kind of why I did that. But I do have a lot of languishing whips. Some of them were too hot to pull out, or it's like, oh, I've got to measure that or whatever. And I just didn't have the will to organize myself around. So a lot of times people talk about like mindless knitting. I don't usually like that. I mean, I appreciate a stockinette section here or there, but after like 4 rows, I'm bored. And it doesn't even mean that I want to do complicated stuff all the time, because I'll complain if it's too complicated, right? I guess I just complain. Anyway, but this time, mindless knitting, even though I was bored, I wanted to knit and I didn't know what to knit on and nothing was inspiring me. So I did end up having a project that just needed miles of stockinette. And I was like, well, so I did end up doing that. That's a whip. So I guess I'm going to show you now because I can do whatever I want. I don't have to follow the procedure. I can show you FOs and then whips in the middle of everything. I do what I like, right? So this is the Roseroot top. And I showed you this before. But I've got a lot of progress on it, right? So here is the whole thing now. The reason it's kind of weird looking is because I've blocked the yoke, but I haven't blocked the rest of it. So the rest of it's just regular. I didn't really make it for me, but it technically does fit me. So I'm kind of just using my body as a gauge of how long I want it to be, because I think in the pattern it's a little shorter than I would want. So I needed to go, I think, 7 inches from my little Coraline stitch marker there. Can you see that? Let's just try this again. Coraline stitch marker. Ta-da. Yeah. So cute. It's actually an earring from Hot Topic that I converted. That's usually what I do. And then just stick them on a light bulb marker. Anyway, so this is actually pretty long. And I don't think it's going to like grow much. So I'm almost there, but I think I still have 2 inches to go before I start the bottom, which isn't quite as long as this. The bottom detailing, which isn't quite as long as this, but it still looks really long. I kind of want to stop now. I will also say that it's been frequent that I've thought that I want to make something, a certain length. And then when I'm done, it's not even just that the thing grew or anything. It's just that I was wrong. Like it's too long. Like I think I can't remember the name of the sweater. Into the trees, into the forest. I forget. Anyway, I'll put it here. By Melody Hoffman. That one I'm actually thinking of, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's top down. So I'm pretty sure that I could just snip off the bottom there and, or undo it, I guess, if I'm responsible, and make it about like an inch or 2 shorter, because it kind of folds in my lap. So that's a little long. So I may end up doing that, especially because I kind of have to do some additional knitting to kind of tidy it up, but really it's just sort of like cutting back and then casting off, essentially. So that one has been, it's really, it's a nice pattern. I love the lace work, and you get to do lace at the beginning and the end. So it's kind of nice. Like, you get to start right away at something interesting, and finish off with something interesting too. But, oh, the yards in the middle. It feels like yards in the middle. And the thing with that too is that I thought, oh, this will be quick because it doesn't have any sleeves. No, I'm still working on it. So, like I said, I hope I'm able to get into one more fair this year, which is a September fair. So it'd be nice if I could finish that to possibly sell it at that fair, although everyone's going to want all the warm stuff, I guess, going into winter. But it's really beautiful. And like I said, it technically does fit me. But I don't know. I don't see myself wearing that, but we'll see where it goes. Anyway, that's not my only whip, but that's the only whip I'll show you for right now. I'm going to show you some more, technically some more FOs. What's next? One thing that I made in the middle of trying to get my act together, were these mitts. They are finished as far as the actual piece. High plane, sorry if you can hear that. They are made with some yarn that I've had left over forever because it's been discontinued and I love it. So I use it here and there when I can, remember that I've got it. It's Yarn Bee's Effervesce. This Is this a pattern? I think it is. No, I made it up. So what did I do? I cast on 30. I held this worsted yarn double, and I used a US 4 for the ribbing and an 8 for the rest of it. I did some shaping in the middle that I don't love, but that's because I was kind of making it up as I went, and I realized that it was going to be kind of like it was going to be poofy right here. Anyway, what I intended to do is that I do really like embroidery, but I don't like to embroider. I like to embroider knits. So I need more knits to embroider on. So I was like, why don't I make some like plain mitts and then just do some fun, like, you know, fall color flower embroidery on it or something. So I haven't done that yet. And it will cover up the, you know, the ugly decreases. I mean, they're not ugly, but they're very noticeable. So the decreases there, I'll probably cover up and do something simple with that. So I was like, I'll just use up all this yarn and I'll do a whole bunch of colors. And like, I could barely be bothered to finish the second one. You know how that goes. Yeah, so I worked on that. But then, I don't know why, I guess I just got the idea for the mitts. I'm careful for making gloves or mitts or mittens of any kind and socks because I definitely get second sock syndrome. And I don't usually bother to do 2 at a time in any way, even with just like 2 separate needles. So whatever. But I saw this pattern that's been on my queue for a while and suddenly went, hello, why haven't I done this yet? So I did, and it is gorgeous. And so I started another pair that I'm almost finished with. This is, let me remember what it is, the Hedgerow Fingerless Mitts. I haven't woven the ends in yet, but I'll just tuck them in. I think I've woven the ends on the other pair, but I will put this one on. Let me put this one on because I'm wearing a bracelet. And a ring on the other side. Hi, plane. Where are they going? Somewhere exciting. So, yeah. So that is the Hedgerow Fingerless Mittens. Without the ends woven in yet. Oh my gosh, I love them. I love the high contrast, and it's just superb. And the thing about this pattern, it's kind of a dream. Like, so it's obviously just 2 color. It looks like brioche in a way, like, you know, because of the, like, but it's not. Down here, you do purl the darker color, and then the contrast color is knit. Honestly, I don't think I'd do that in the future because I don't think it really is necessary. The reason this pattern is such a dream is because the leaf pattern is so intuitive. So I didn't need to look at the chart like kind of every row, but I knew what to expect, and I was able to just go, you know, around the row with no problem just by a glance. The number one reason this pattern is a dream is, like, I think I had to catch floats maybe twice for this. So you don't have to worry about any like puckering or catching them. I find it irritating to catch them. I mean, I can, I just don't want to. And even like those floats, I didn't probably have to, but it got up to 5 stitches. And so I was like, well, let me just, you know, catch like in the middle there. So it's just, you can just go. So there's very little tension issue. The only reason I had a tension issue, so on one of these, I had to go up a needle size in the middle. And I mean, you can't really tell, so that's good. I hit tension gauge bang on the first try, but toward the middle, I was like, you know what? I think my gauge is tightening up. So I did these on a 2, but I had to move up to a 3 halfway through. And then I think I went back to the 2, maybe for the cuff. I don't remember, for one of the cuffs. Anyway, on the next one, I expected to have to go up the needle size maybe halfway through again, but I was a little bit more careful with my tension, and I actually checked several times and I didn't have to. And the reason for that is because I was using 9-inch circulars, and So on 9-inch circulars, it's easier, especially when you start getting like, you know, piling up the stitches because of the thumb before you've taken those off your needle. So, you know, about here or something, there's so many stitches on my 9-inch circular that it was kind of hard to easily and without thinking get a nice enough stretch so that your floats were nice and relaxed, right? So I just tried a little bit. I just was like a little bit more mindful, and it was really just a little bit more, not a lot. And everything was fine. But I hadn't thought about that would be why your tension one reason why your tension might change from different needle types, because you'd think that your tension would change if you go to a larger cable, because, you know, then the stitches are more spread out. And yes, but I didn't think about having that problem because the needle was too small. Anyway, it's not too small, but it worked. So I loved these. I need to, you know, again, weave in the ends, but I love these so much that I actually started another pair. This yarn is, to die for. It is so soft. This almost looks like I'm working with like a mohair or something, because of the like fuzzy halo, but I'm not. It's just a beautiful, it's a chained yarn. It's from Woolfolk. I'll put it down below because I can't remember the name of it. I found it in an LYS that I was traveling, and I was so thrilled that it fit and I was able to use it, and I had the right amount of yarn. I could possibly make even another set, but I don't think I'd have enough of the contrast color, because I bought 2 skeins of the main color, and so of course I have, you know, enough for that. Anyway, I decided to do it in a darker, low contrast color. I can't even tell which one I like more. It might be these, because I just love the moodiness of them. So this one I am, how far? I don't even think I've started thumb stitches. No. Not long now, though. Maybe I'm up to it. So anyway, there's my little Jiaogu size 2 9-inch. Oh, see, I have started the thumb because there's the marker for the thumb stitches to go in between. And there's just the halfway point so that I know to start the motif again. And there's my little, I forget who I got the stitch marker from. I'll put it below if I find it, if I remember. But my little Coraline key. So I am very excited. I think I may sell those, but I might have to keep one pair for myself. We'll see. This is in one of my pretty wintry bags from a Stitchy Girl Studio. Love them. Oh, I forgot to put these back in. I guess I'm keeping them all together. So I really do highly recommend that pattern. It's just got the right mix of everything. Enough interest, but not too difficult. The color work is a dream to do because everything is just like spaced really nice. I went to another color work project after that, which is like easy and beautiful, and I've been dying to do. But it wasn't spaced as nice, and I still was like, it's fine. It's fine. This is fine. But I was really spoiled on that project. But I interrupted finishing that project because I decided to move to these. I will show you now. When I put them on. These are the Snowy Mitts by Jessica McDonald, who I am just loving. She has a podcast that I watch, and I really love her aesthetic. She was talking about on one of her latest podcasts, she was talking about how her husband teases her that, you know, everything is just going to be gray and green and white, and it's all trees or something. And I'm like, yeah, same. Maybe not the gray, but you do need the gray for the right contrast here. But the green and the moody, like for me, it'd probably be green and brown. That's what everything is green and brown. See if I can fix that. But anyway, so these are the Snowy Mitts or Snowy Mittens, I think. Sorry, there's a bump there because my bracelet's under it, but it's not bumpy. And these smell yummy because I blocked them with some yummy soap. Some eucalyptus, yeah. These are in her pattern book I forget. I'll put it down here. But she's like a one woman or like one family show. Like her husband takes the photos. She models everything. She like puts the book together. And this is actually out of a book. I bought the pattern singularly, but you can buy the book and like this book was all child knits, but they got like these mittens got up to a small adult, and this just barely fits me. It's like a little snug right here, but not in a bad way. So I actually like it. I don't wear mittens. It's not cold enough here to wear mittens. I probably will sell them, but I really love them. And so I did these because A, they've been on my list forever, but B, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for one of her patterns to come out. So she's doing another book right now, or has finished another book right now. It was adult patterns. I think there's 7 patterns in it. Again, can't remember the name. We'll put it here, or down below. And so this is basically the same color work idea, possibly exactly, on a shawl that she has coming out called the Snowy Shawl. And I've been waiting for weeks for that ever since I saw it on her podcast. I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to do that. And then I just was like so excited to do it. And it was kind of giving me life again. Like, you know, where I was like, I don't know what to knit and I don't know what to do. But that was like, I'm going to do that. And so I was like really excited to do it because then I could finally get my act together, right? But I think the Hedgerow Fingerless Mittens by Marianne Stevens, I forgot to say. I think those helped me do it. And then these just kind of carried the momentum. So definitely recommend these. But let me show you the Snowy Shawl, because the day that it came out, I ordered it. Now you could get, if you wanted to pre-order the book, this was like last Tuesday. So it hasn't even been a week. This was, I don't know, mid-August, which it kind of is now. Anyway, so you can pre-order the book with the 7 patterns in it. And I really was planning on doing that because then you get the ebook for free and you can start right away. And for some reason, I just assumed the ebook wouldn't be for sale on its own until the physical book was released. And I do, the physical book, I'm sure, is really pretty. I just don't end up referencing physical books as often as I do patterns digitally. When I read, I love to read actual paper books unless I'm listening to audiobook. But yeah, patterns, it's just easier for me to all have them on like, you know, my one device or saved. Anyway, so when I saw that the ebook was available, and it is available now, I didn't even see the pre-order for the book yet because she hadn't quite announced it, but she was supposed to announce it that day and I was getting impatient. So I went to her website and saw the ebook there and I'm like, okay. So I got it right there and started work on it. And I have been working on nothing but this ever since. So it's kind of bunched up on my needles here, but here is my progress so far. And so you can see you've got the snow up here. It's really low contrast between the white and the gray, and I don't mind that. I almost chose the exact colors she did, but this is cedar instead of forest. And, yeah. And I like the bluer, richer green better. The forest is almost like leans a little bit toward olive. It's not olive, but it leans more toward olive than this does. So this is the yarn she recommends in the pattern, and a yarn I love. This is Gilliat Rerum Natura. I love this yarn. It is the yarn that Melody Hoffman recommends, and so I had worked with it before in that Into the Woods sweater or whatever. I keep forgetting what it's called. And so I knew that I loved it and knew I wanted to get exactly that. So I did. So this is just 3 colors. It uses 2 balls of the main color, the green color, and then 1 of each of the others. And so I'm going to have plenty because I made sure to get extra for these. Look at, see, oh, what a great match. So there's also a hat too, by the way. Anyway, so I made sure to get extra for that, but the mittens hardly took anything. So I think I might have plenty. Maybe I'll do the hat, right? I don't know. So this is a steek shawl. So here's the steek. And then this is where when I cut it, this will be the edges, of course. So that's why it kind of looks like all puckered when you're doing the steek. So I'm doing a couple of things differently than the pattern. First of all, it calls for a 7. I didn't quite make gauge with the 7, so I was going to go up to even a 9. Just because I don't mind if it's a little bit bigger. I'm not so worried about the gauge, honestly, on this one. But I knew from doing her Snowy Mittens where my gauge was. But then I realized I don't have all the DPNs and the circulars that I wanted to use in 9s, but I had them all in 8s. So I went with an 8 because this calls for magic loop. I mean, she doesn't say that, but it's kind of explicit. You'll use she's like a 32-inch cord. And so obviously you're doing magic loop in the middle because you start from this little tiny center and go on. So magic loop is not my favorite. I can do it and it's fine. I'd rather not. And DPNs, I'd even rather do DPNs than magic loop. I know why I'm crazy, right? But I didn't have 9s and DPNs anyway. So again, I decided to do 8. But then while I did start on DPNs, I quickly realized that I had a 9-inch circular of in size 8 because I used it for this. So I'd just rather just one big circle, right? As often as I can get it. So I will move to smaller needles and, whatever I can do. A lot of times even I will, so I can work on circulars, I'll do like the first couple of rows or whatever, back and forth and then join it if that will give me just a little bit more room and a little bit more time to get the circular working so that I don't have to do magic loop or whatever. So I just love circular. So I actually changed needles a lot. I went from, I did do DPN at the beginning, just barely, but then I went from, 9-inch circular in size 8, a 9-inch circular to a 12-inch circular to a 6. Then I went to 16, 24, and now I think I'm on 32. Honestly, I might be on 40. I have no idea. It's red. That tells me nothing. Anyway, so I'm not doing magic loop. The other thing I'm not doing so I'll show you what the floats look like. They're not the prettiest. I'm carrying large floats on this one. And I think that that's kind of expected because here you can see kind of the snowflakes, they're all like 5 stitches apart or so. So I think it's kind of expected that you'll carry floats, right? But I am not carrying the alternate color on the rows where I just have a single color. So the rows in between the snowflakes, the rows in between the snow down here, I'm not carrying. So you can kind of see, like especially up here, you can see there's gaps because it's not every row. I hope that's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fine. But if I don't have to carry it, I don't want to bother. I'm definitely don't want to like catch all the floats, all around those rows. So I think that that's causing me less headache. And I hope that's fine. I don't foresee a problem with it. There's the steek. And so the steek is like about 4 inches or 4 inches. Good Lord. No, 4 columns wide. And so I've kind of, included the stitches, obviously, when it was most helpful. Like when I was on one of those rows, I included the stitches or the color work in the steek too, just for convenience sake. But otherwise, I'm not doing it there either. I'm just sort of picking it up from a couple rows below when I need to. That's what I did with the Snowy Mittens, which means there's so fewer floats to worry about when you try this on. I don't know if that's good because maybe, more consistently on every row, maybe it'd kind of like all blend together and maybe with it being less, it doesn't. I don't know. I think it's fine. So that's what I'm doing. I think that's all I wanted to share. This is a pretty detail going down the center. And I have quite a bit more to do because It's not a super duper long shawl. It is a triangular shaped shawl. Not super duper long, but long enough. I mean, the green will end up being a larger portion than this gray. So I've got a ways to go, and I'm just heading into where it's just going to be, you can just barely see. Now it's just going to be like snowflakes, just like the top. I haven't read far ahead enough to know how it finishes, but yeah. And then I'll be cutting a steek again. This will be my second one. And this is non-superwash wool, so I think that will be better. The first time I cut a steek was on my Alaska sweater that I turned into a cardigan, which is holding up well. And I think with non-superwash, it'll be even stickier, and that'll be good. I'm going to do a crochet reinforcement on this one, like I always do, because I don't have a sewing machine that I feel will handle sewing reinforcements. So crochet reinforcement. Yeah. Okay. The world is definitely starting to wake up in my corner of it. So I have limited time left. Oh, planes every 3 minutes, traffic. Someone's going to start banging on something. I'm pretty sure any minute now. But the last thing I wanted to do, I kind of made an attempt last time, but I wanted to take a look at my Make 9. So I'm going to post it up here so you can see that. So here's my Make 9. And I'm kind of just wanting to look at, here, I'm going to scoot over here. So this is my Make 9, and I've kind of, I did make some changes, like the owl blanket. I'm not going to be, right there. I'm not going to be making, I was going to make it for, I'll make it someday. It's really cute, but I was going to make it for, a newborn that I know that has just come into the world recently. And then I realized, I don't know how I feel about like yarn blankets for tiny babies. I know it's like a tradition people have done forever. But anyway, so I decided to nix that. I ended up making a bunch of sweaters, which I've shown you in a previous episode anyway. I don't remember what I replaced the owl blanket with. I might have to go back and watch my own episodes, gag, to remember if I suggested anything to myself. Okay. So the Aurora Borealis mittens, I have not made. I think I still want to make those. But, I mean, I have done colorwork mittens, and that was kind of why they were on my list. Everything on my Make 9 list was kind of there because I just wanted to try different techniques. And so, or, I mean, even if I've done it, like I haven't done a colorwork mitten or a colorwork sock or something, right? So I'd be fine if the Snowy Mittens ended up counting for that. But I do want to still do these mittens because they're so pretty. Then the Heart of the Forest socks. I love the trees. And I do want to try that, I think, try colorwork socks. Although I'm worse with socks than I am with mittens. I think these mittens worked because all the mittens I've been doing are on a larger, like even the what are they called? Even the Hedgerow mittens are a DK. So I think that, you know, is helpful. So I'm worse with socks, probably because they're fingering weight, but with the second sock syndrome, I mean, I've still got one that I'm working on that I've been working on all year. So, I mean, working on, right? Anyway, the Cola cabled sweater is the one for my husband. And I think I do need to start getting on that because I want to be able to give it to him for Christmas. He doesn't watch this, so it'll be a surprise, right? The Under Duress sweater is in the middle. I did make that one. That I made that all in red, though. I didn't make any that, which I just wanted it because of like the V and the shaping I really liked. So I made that all in red, and I have made that one. The Rosa Jumper. Really, I have that one because I wanted to work with mohair. And here's the thing. I technically have. Because this has mohair held double with chunky, because I wanted to use this yarn up, but I couldn't go down small enough to make it not a hassle, but to make the stuffing not show through for the hook. So I ended up using the same hook, but I held it double with mohair, and that worked. And I actually really like the effect. It's subtle, but I really like it. So I guess that counts. We'll see what I think. Frog and Toad, obviously, finally finished. That's my make 9 to finish. The little tree line is one of those. It's also Jessica McDonald. I just love her. And that's one of her patterns that's in her first book. And so I did make that one in brown for that newborn I told you about. The current mood shawl, I'm not as far as in my make 9 as I thought. Not that it matters, but I'm curious. Anyway, the current mood shawl I really wanted to do because of brioche. I believe that's a brioche pattern, and that's one thing I still haven't tried. So I do think if I don't do that one, I will do something, because I do still want to try brioche, and it's a good time to try it. But we'll see how the rest of the year's projects go. Anyway, there's my make 9, and I think that concludes the episode. I got through it without anyone hammering or sawing. Only a few neighbors saw me because I'm sitting here outside. Next time, I hope to podcast while on a mini vacation for my birthday. And then after that, hopefully I'll be able to podcast from my living room, because it will probably be too rainy and dark outside. Please, in order to do that, if we're talking about October now, I'm actually really excited because I special ordered something from a carpenter on Etsy that is essentially a yarn cabinet, or it's called an apothecary cabinet. So yes, love it already. But I special ordered something from them as an insert because I use an entertainment center. Our TV is actually just like above the fireplace that we never use, and it's just on the wall. So we used our entertainment center previously in years past, right? But we don't have a TV for that space anymore. We just like kept all our DVDs in it, right? So I've since moved all that stuff, and I've moved all my yarn into the entertainment center, and it does mostly fit, but they've got this big old gap in the middle where a TV should go. And I thought I need to find a shelving unit for this space. And I just couldn't find something I like. I was looking online, I was looking everywhere. And finally I decided I'm going to special order something. So I saw this apothecary cabinet, and I was like, what if we tweak this and tweak that? And then we had this shape instead, and like fit the measurements and stuff. And they've been incredible to work with me, and it just shipped. So I should get it next week. I will probably wait to show it to you when I film inside, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm very excited, and that will hold more crafty stuff and yarny stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to get all my storage under control. Does that ever happen? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I will see you again next time, and I hope the rest of your summer is going well, or winter, wherever you are. Bye.